day 249 of our daily updates. One more day, and we're going to be at day 250. Unbelievable. Welcome. Thank you for all being here. Thank you to a great community that's always a part of sharing the truth, liking, commenting, supporting Ukraine, not only by being here, but also financially, prayers, etc. So thank you very much. And big thank you as always to our moderators. Let's have a great chat tonight and a great update. With that said, 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, almost 9:02, 6:01 out in California, and 3:01 in Ukraine, 3:02. We are now only 6 hours difference for 1 week until the United States changes. So good morning to you, sir. It is nice to have you in here tonight. Welcome.
Good evening. Hello from Ukraine.
Is the 1 hour helping you?
Yeah, just some. Thank you.
Good. By the way, you got a lot of good compliments on your background. The gold looks good.
Okay, probably I will need to. I'm about to steal it.
It does look good.
No.
All right, my man. Let's jump to it tonight on this Sunday night, and this is what we're going to have the update to get folks caught up on what has happened today, and also the look ahead for the week that is upcoming. So let's start here tonight. Look at the map a little bit. Out in the black rectangle, battles are raging in the east. In the south, in the red box, they continue to strike in Energodar, shelling it. That is where the nuclear power plant is, there in the south in the red box. And of course, Nikopol was hit extremely hard. In fact, the mayor of Nikopol came out today and said, we were shelled all night, nonstop. Lots of destruction on residential areas. And yes, random throughout the nation, but those were the two focus areas. We're going to look closer at the east in a moment. And the other thing is, you guys remember the Chechens? What are they? The Kadyrites?
Kadyrov.
Yeah. They came out today. Their leader out of Chechnya. You remember, guys? Don. I'm going to tell you, Don. I'm going to tell you. They said they're now coming to Belarus to help. We will keep our eye focused on Belarus. Now, Zhenya, let me zoom you in here to the east. This is east of Izum, but this is where a lot of the hottest battles are happening right now. What do you know about, since last night, updated on that region?
Let's say I know that it's still, the hard battles goes there. And concerning Bakhmut, our guys are pushing them back a little bit. And not as fast as we would like, but it's non-stop, step by step, like inch by inch, but doing it. And that's a good part. The more critical situation in more south from the Bakhmut, because there is a lot of Russians there. They're pushing, they're trying, to cut our guys in some places. So we fight. That's probably it.
Can you explain to folks tonight, how hard are the battles there?
How hard?
Yeah.
How difficult? Like this.
Okay.
Because of the quantity and the pressure from the Russian, they have like echelons, like lines, like waves. They doing they like barriers, the lines. Some places are when the soldiers goes in the front, and some trenches are full. Half full, or like a lot of dead bodies of Russian soldiers. They don't take it out, and they trying to stop on and going, continue to fight. And the same, our guys, when doing the meeting these dead bodies, nobody is trying to take out. Not on all of the places, but this is to explain how intensive is it.
It's
Like non-stop, like any chance they trying to push
in a
an
in a
our
lot of the areas around Bakhmut, because we've talked in the past about how the war is a shelling war at a distance, but in certain areas there are very close frontline battles. And one of those places would be like Bakhmut and Avdiivka. It's close battling, urban warfare. So one of the things that Russia is doing right now, though, because they are being pushed back in the east. They are losing some ground. They'll gain a little in places, but it seems they're losing more. Ukraine is picking up more ground right now. And of course, one of the tactics that Russia is using is they're destroying every bridge they can destroy. So they are now having a defensive position because they're trying to slow Ukraine down from coming and pushing them out of Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
So they've resorted to this tactic.
Yeah, and it shows the reality, and we need to remember this picture of this destroyed bridge. Then this is how Russia is trying to create a picture, to fake a picture that they control everything. So during non-stop the battles like this, and basically in some areas on the moment and faking referendum in the Kharkiv area, they were leaving Ukrainian territory, but during the time they were still proclaiming this is a Russian territory. We already have had a referendum. This is what they never controlled that land, but they already were shouting, worldwide, this is the Russian territory.
And of course, we know it's not. One of the things that out of that picture, since you said go back to it, I would draw people's attention to is this is the terrain. Now, think about this terrain in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Ice, snow, rain, muddy roads. You know, a lot of these roads are extremely damaged, a lot of mud, a lot of dirt, very sloppy. And a lot of the Ukrainian roads, I don't know about other countries, but I can tell you in America, we'll have roads and then they'll have a little ditch. But a lot of these roads out in this region, if you go off the road, you're going down a berm pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
2-3 meters. You're not coming out of there. You're not just going in a little ditch and they'll pop you back up on the road. You're done. So you can see the hilly terrain. It's going to be a challenge every day that we go forward from here. Now, let's move on to something else that we've been watching and following, and that is
Yeah.
Kherson. But before we talk about Kherson, I want you to give us an update on Moldova. Today,
Mm-hmm.
Moldova had a lot of chaos in Chisinau. It's the capital city. They're having political unrest. The nation is destabilized. Of course, you and I have spent a lot of time in Chisinau together. I love the city of Chisinau. We have a lot of good friends there. There's a lot of good people there in Moldova. But right now, they're getting some influence from somewhere, and that nation is being destabilized. What are you hearing, and what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the pictures and videos we're getting, and we were expecting not just in Moldova such situations that Russia is trying to use all possible pro-Russian people, let's say pro-Russian attitude. The people in Moldova, in other places as well, to destabilize and somehow to put their like representatives there in a leaders, being leaders of the countries. Moldova is one of they trying to move out the Maya Sandu, and then by putting the own person, let's say, then using them like they're using Lukashenko today.
Mm-hmm. Lukashenko, if we go back to the beginning of this war in 2014, of course, Yanukovych was being used in Ukraine. And now we see the same things that are happening in Moldova and other nations. This is their strategy. The other thing on this map here is Kherson. Yes, Russia is rotating out. Yes, Russia is reinforcing the left bank. Yes, Ukraine is pushing hard from the north. But Russia is stealing every bit of technic that they can.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I need to take the pause because we have sirens outside. So I need.
Okay. Go ahead.
I can. Okay, let's do a minute. I mean, a couple of seconds.
No.
And then
No.
Move a little bit.
Take your pause and go to safety.
I mean, just hear what Russia does. Here is the capital city of Ukraine.
Kyiv.
I want for you to hear it. Kyiv.
Hey. All right.
Yeah.
Why don't you do what you got to do?
And yeah, this is reality on every normal window. There is a tape to protect during the shells. I mean, if the window is precious. So let me get back a little bit from other place, okay?
Yeah, go ahead and do your thing. So, folks, that gives you a real look. Of course, none of this is ever planned. Middle of the night there in Kyiv, air raid sirens going off. He's backing up to a safer location. And while he's doing that, I just want to finish the thought that we had, and that was Kherson. Russia's moving out all the technical equipment, stealing it. They've moved citizens out. They've moved equipment into the left bank. Ukraine is pushing down. Russia's pushing up. There will be a battle there. It will be a big one. It may determine the future of this war, but I'm thinking more and more day by day that there is really a possibility that they really would blow that dam and flood the Kherson region. Moving all that stuff out. Why? Why, other than thievery? It could be that this is a part of the plan or strategy for them to think that. Now I see him coming back in. He's moved into an internal room, and we should be good. You've moved to a different place? Hold on, let me see if I can get some audio from you. As this is what happens when live.
Hello.
Yeah, gotcha.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, at least you kept a gold background.
Yeah. Okay. This is important. Yeah, the Kherson is important. Kherson is important.
Kherson is important.
It's the key. One of the key moments, I think, in this autumn. It's a key moment and key place, and a lot of things will depend on that. And for the flooding or other things Russia can make, I think there is a different reasons why they will need it, because everything when it comes about the Russia with that kind of leadership, that kind of structure or political situation in that country, the pressing, manipulation, propaganda, it will be not as easy if they will lose the place. They were calling Kherson the hero city. Kherson is our symbol of our victory. I mean, okay.
This is why I will be surprised if they just leave. I don't get it.
Yeah, like this is, I think it will not work like this. Usually it doesn't work. Usually somebody of their leaders will need to pay a price for this. Or, I mean, we're calling it like someone's head will be cut off.
Correct. A head will roll. Correct.
But it's one side. It's the other side. What about the people? And people are not. They were not happy with leaving a lot of Kharkiv area. A lot of disagreements were, and it was a lot after that. Leaving the Kharkiv area, the explanation was a lot about the NATO fights. If you will analyze it, they were everywhere on their propaganda on the channels. Were okay. We didn't expect it, but we fight with NATO army, with NATO. This is why we're leaving. I don't know what they will explain about Kherson.
Well, we're going to hear from Peskov in just a moment, the press secretary there for the Kremlin, uh, exactly about what you were just saying about NATO. But before we do that, let's jump over to a topic we've been watching a little bit. And no, it's not Albania, but it is mosquitoes. Yeah. And we're very thankful that finally somebody in the United Nations uses their brain. It took the representative from Albania to do it. This is where Albania is, Albania, whichever way you call it. So tonight, we want to say thank you to the ambassador to the UN from Albania. Yeah?
Yeah. Thank you very much for showing that there is a people who respects at the time, respects their position and respects the place they're sitting with others. And they demonstrated that all of us need, to have more respect to ourselves, to our time, because it looks like it's right time somebody's putting us in a situation where we have to listen all of these crazy speeches about mosquitoes and all of that fairy tales.
And have a sound mind. So I know everybody's wondering, you're going, okay, what are you talking about? Well, here you go.
Yeah.
Это уже 4-е или 5-е заседание, я уже даже запутался, коллеги. Одна и та же делегация созывает по той же теме эти заседания с ничтожным результатом. Так вот, я задаю вопрос, а что Совету Безопасности нечем больше заняться? Мы уже на протяжении долгого времени слушаем заявление Российской Федерации, но в очередной раз сегодня господин Эбо, докладчик, подтвердил, что никаких доказательств и подкреплений этим заявлением России не существует. Мы не можем подыгрывать этой пропаганде просто потому, что Российская Федерация предпочитает выступать, упивается своими речами и искажает реальность. На наш взгляд, нет никакого нарушения со стороны Украины или Соединенных Штатов. Мы сегодня вновь выслушали многочисленные обвинения, в том числе о разных патогенах и о комарах. Интересно, а как эти комары проводили бы различия между русскими и украинцами?
Hey, awesome. We've heard enough of the propaganda, them reveling in their great speeches. It's madness. There's nothing we found in Ukraine or the U.S. By the way, how does this mosquito know whether to bite a Russian or a Ukrainian? Brilliant. And we're very thankful. That's what we're referring to.
Yes. But if you want to know how they were recognized, please ask people, Peskov, other people. They know exactly how.
The mosquitoes do. We'll leave that one there on a Sunday night smile. All right, let's go here. Okay. Let's go here. Folks, on the right, the green monstrosity is Russia. That's geographically speaking. Bottom, middle, Ukraine. Very large. If you look, it would be as large as any of the other nations and larger than some of them, like Poland. It's bigger than Germany. It's bigger than Belarus. It's bigger than the Baltics. So that's Ukraine. Above that, you have Belarus. Above that, you have on the border with Russia, Latvia and Estonia. Then above that, across the Baltic, is Finland. So blue line on Ukraine, blue line on Latvia and Estonia, borders against Russia. Red line for the Belarusian border against Russia, which is basically no border. That's open, which links them next to Poland. But big story today, Finland. Look at that long black border up in the north. Finland said, Once we're in NATO, we will gladly allow NATO to put nukes on our border. That's a big pressure pusher today for Russia. Thankful to Finland for being bold.
Yeah, Finland were long time quite quiet, and now they demonstrate a strong position. And I think we need such positions from all the world.
Correct.
Then
a lot of these nations are bold.
Yes, because Russia are not terrorizing the Finland, not terrorizing, let's say, not threatening the Poland,
Mm-hmm.
the small Lithuania. They were telling something, but they're not scared. No. If they would have 50 countries like that, the terror would be stopped.
It would be, because how do you deal with a bully? You stand up to a bully, you pop him on the nose, and he'll back down. But coddling him, negotiating, these games do not work. In fact, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. The grain deal is, Russia backed out of it after the strike in Sevastopol. So here's what's happened over the last 24 hours. Fonteles out of the EU called with the UN. He called Secretary General Guterres to discuss the Black Sea deal and coordinate actions to ensure grain, fertilizer exports from Ukraine. He then stated Russia must go back to agreement to allow maritime corridor for food to reach the world. The EU will play its part to counter the global food crisis. That's where we started. We've had some movement today. Others came out. This is Kubrakov. He came out and said, we have ships that are loaded. We have a ship loaded right now that is supposed to go to Ethiopia, where there is a famine, but this grain corridor is blocked by Russia, and these exports are impossible. Lithuania, Landsbergis came out and said, negotiating with Russia doesn't work. Putin breaks agreements and blackmails all of us. If he continues to jeopardize Ukraine's grain exports, the free world must unite to safeguard shipping. Now, check this out, Jacob. With military escorts, let's bypass the blackmail. One more thing happened, and then I'm going to get your comments on it. Later today, Ukraine, Turkey, the United Nations made an agreement. I don't know what the details of it are, but made an agreement to start getting these ships loaded with grains, food out of the Black Sea. I don't know how. What we do know is there are 214 ships stuck there in the port. In the bottom right, you see the flag of Russia and the little guy with the intercom. What does that mean? This agreement was made between Ukraine, Turkey, UN, and they said, we will not ask Russia to participate. We're simply going to inform them of what we're going to do. This could get interesting over the next couple of days as we watch it. It's going to get hot down there. Yeah.
I would add finally, because before situation was like this. Russia were deciding for African countries and other countries, will they have bread and will it be affordable, or it will cause the problem there, starving. And to be honest, I was waiting when will be, the country will say, okay, even,
welcome to live, folks.
At least we may.
Let me see if I can get him back. I can tell you what he's saying here. He's saying, I was waiting for countries to step up and say, Russia, we're not going to be dependent upon your thoughts. You're not going to hold the world hostage, but we're going to feed the world. Go ahead.
Yes. I said, finally, because I was expecting, and all the world, I said, the African countries were expecting that someone will take responsibility with decision. At least we will protect the bread, not Russia. Nobody
Correct.
gave Russia the rights to decide for African countries or other countries. Doesn't matter what continent. And if they will be attacking the bread, I mean, okay.
What else does the world need to know? Exactly. Speaking of attacking bread, let's talk about it this way. People work in Ukraine, other nations, Russia included, have jobs. They make money. We have a sling for that. It's called bread. You bring the bread home. You buy products for your home to take care of your family and to build a good life. But look what's happening here. Picture out today. Occupied Ukraine. And that is Russian soldiers with Technic on their back, microwaves, dishwashers, TVs, whatever, just stealing. What's your thoughts when you look at your nation and you see the invaders just stealing?
My thoughts, there's a couple. The one is one of the visit of our guys, the military guys from Nikolaev. They said, okay, probably, I mean, we have a lot of, I mean, let's say in at least at our units, and we are buying things for us. And so if, plus they said, if we would take at least something from the civilians, our commander would kick us out. We would be in the jail. So if it happening in the Russian army, it can explain a lot of things. What's going on there, their motivation, their bringing the freedom, and so on. And plus their position. Why there is a principles. There is a people who are fighting because of their ideology, because they believe in something. So these people believe in the robbery. This is their philosophy.
Aren't soldiers supposed to be honorable? You know, you fight the enemy. You don't fight civilians. You don't steal. You don't leave the wounded on the battlefield. You don't leave your dead soldiers in a trench. Isn't there supposed to be honor among soldiers? Yeah or no? Honor among soldiers? Isn't there supposed to be?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's the soldier and the military. It equals the honorable, having high principles,
Correct,
and high values and honor.
But remember this: there's no honor among thieves. That's a statement. Okay. Now I want to show you this picture. Do you know who this is?
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Tonight, the title of the program, he speaks to the world, giving a thank you. He won an award. Very thankful for that. He deserves it. But he made a statement to the world. And tonight, folks, I'm going to share a couple of minutes of this with you because you're going to hear President Zelenskyy say a few comments, not in Ukrainian, translated, and we subtitle it, not in Russian. He speaks in Russian as well, of course, many times so that Russians will understand, and we subtitle it. No, he's speaking in English. Tonight, a couple of minutes, President Vladimir Zelenskyy speaking to the world in English.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, greetings from Ukraine, from the country that is already called the global center of courage. This year we reminded to the world that courage can do things that no one expects. There is no Goliath that David cannot beat when he is not afraid and takes the fight. And I encourage all defenders of freedom to never give up, always act decisively and believe that victory is possible. Ukraine survived under the attacks of Russia. We reject Russian blackmail and are not afraid of Russian terror. Ukraine will not give up its freedom. And the day will come soon when all the murderers and torturers who came to our land under the Russian flag will be brought to justice. We'll see how those who are responsible for starting this criminal war will be punished by the court and history. And I thank all our friends and thank the leaders and people of the United States of America who are helping to bring closer the victory for Ukraine and punishment for Russia, for aggression, as well as for those who became Russian accomplices in terror. Now our country is suffering from terrorist attacks by Russia, which are also carried out with Iranian weapons. The Iranian regime has transferred drones to Russia to destroy our civilian infrastructure, everything that gives the vital basis for a normal life. Our power plants, transport, even residential buildings have become targets for murderous Iranian drones. Hundreds of them have already been used against us. And this clearly shows that when there is a threat to freedom, it is a threat to people everywhere, not only in the places where the human rights are destroyed and people are humiliated. When there is a lack of freedom somewhere, it undermines freedom for all humanity. So it is a danger for everyone, and that's why everyone's courage is needed. Courage, which is enough to stand up to terror and punish those who spread death and hatred, who threaten freedom and destroy peace. Please, don't hesitate to say no when you see the cruelty of evil like Goliath. Don't give up. Always fight. Do not give up your rights and never betray the desire to live freely. And please help others who fight for freedom. Let victory be the reward for courage. Thank you for your support and for the award to Ukrainians. Slava Ukraini!
Good. Great.
That's better than most church sermons today on a Sunday. Can David beat Goliath? Yes. What does it take? Courage, standing for what is right. Let me ask you a question. Does that sound like somebody getting ready to negotiate tomorrow? No.
How the courage will be rewarded by victory.
Victory. There's your answer. Woo. What a powerful, powerful statement. Now, in regard to that, and we'll close out here for tonight, but take a look here. This is the opposite, of course. Are negotiations going to happen? Everybody's talking about that the last 24 hours or so. No, it's not. There will not be negotiations. Ukraine has made that final decision. They're going to kick the occupiers out of their nation. They're not going to give up their territory. They're not going to allow Goliath to beat David. They're not going to allow murderers and thieves and terrorists to do this. They're fighting not only for Ukraine, but they're fighting for the free world. Negotiations? No. Now, this is interesting what Peskov said, and I'll show this and we'll close out here, bud.
Если и когда эти переговоры станут возможны, Россия с кем хочет говорить в первую очередь? С Киевом или все-таки с Вашингтоном?
Очевидно, что решающий голос за Вашингтоном. Ну, невозможно о чем-то говорить, например, с Киевом. Да, в Киеве есть президент, законный президент Украины, господин Зеленский. Но достигать с ним каких-то договоренностей, основываясь на опыте мартовском, можно, но эти договоренности ничего не стоят, потому что по указке извне они могут быть отменены моментально. Соответственно, как минимум нужно разговаривать с кем-то, плюс с их вдохновителем, руководителем и так далее.
So, there you have it. Peskov, if you're wondering if negotiations are going to happen, you're seeing it on your news. No, they're not.
No. Peskov says, one day he says one thing, the other day he says, now he says that there is, okay, in Ukraine there is a legitimate president,
Yes.
but he's not to discuss. The other day he says there is no Ukraine. We created Ukraine. There is no nations like the Ukraine. Blah blah blah. It's our people, our land, and nobody.
They
nobody
have
will
no
stop us.
government. They have no, there's nothing real. Exactly. But,
No
it
negotiation.
has been bumping around negotiations. It's not happening, folks. It's not happening. Powerful. Go ahead.
Mhm. Nobody would think about negotiation if somebody would, wreck your door and got some rooms, and you stay in the kitchen, and then he says maybe we will negotiate. You will
Yeah,
fight
right.
for your family, for your room, for your kids, until
No.
you will get those guys for everything, for any centimeter, until you will get it out, and then you will that that crazy one will be in jail.
Great example, but let's take it a step further as we close out and wish everybody a good week. You have a home. You've got grandma, grandpa, mom and dad, 3-4 kids. The invader comes in, beats the front door in. The family goes to the central room and hides, kind of like you're having to do right now because of air raids. You're in an internal room. And not only do they push you into that internal room and take the outer rooms, they also take a couple of your kids and steal them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, so now they've stolen some of your children and grandchildren. And hey, let's negotiate now. No, the negotiation is you're going to lose. David will beat Goliath. So there we have it. Great way to start the week on this Sunday night, my man. Be safe.
Yeah. And thank you for everyone who supports Ukraine, who shares the truth, who praying for the truth will be revealed for in the whole world, in other nations. I want to thank you to everyone for every kind of help you do. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great way. And there's our image for the night. We stand up with Ukraine. Continue to pray for Ukraine. And thank you for continuing to help us on the purchases with the Amazon list, with supporting Ukraine financially. Everything that you're doing, more stuff is coming in daily. And for that, we say thank you. If you want more information, of course, you can go to the website in the description, gregterry.org. You can join the Patreon. That's very active. I'm always putting up new information there. And that's where we're at. Air raid's over. You're good to go.
Yeah, it's clear.
Back in front of the gold screen.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you in Kyiv all day tomorrow too?
Yeah.
Good. Back to Zelynskyy Tuesday?
Tuesday in the daytime. Because on the way I'm going to visit one military base. We were meeting with those people in Nikolaev Oblast, and I'm gonna meet the field medic, military medic there to discuss. They need the support there.
Good.
And we will discuss and make a list, and we'll continue helping them.
Perfect. Well, be safe, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow from Kyiv.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. A good night to all.
To all, a good night.